Stuart McGill is the man warming up at the other end. Young leg spinner for New South Wales, who picked up the wicket of Troy Dixon late yesterday for 12. Big raps on Stuart McGill. Many rate him the second best spinner in the country behind Shane Warne, which is a big tag to carry. And many, not all.
He's the second biggest leg spinner in the country behind Shane Warne. He spins his leg rate more than any of the others who purvey this craft. I also think he's got the most potential of any of the wrist spinners. And I think Test cricket's not beyond him. I've been a little disappointed in him this match, Terry. I just think he's just pitched short so often and been pulled much too frequently for the top line bowlers. But he's on a learning curve and he's got plenty of talent.
Martin Love on 2 not out at the moment. As Kerry O'Keefe pointed out, it really does get some turn to Stuart McGill. Love looking to turn that one around the corner, does so, but no run.
This is a pretty good field Matthews has set for him. The short cover. There's no men around the bat. That's a little surprising.
Short cut. Big Phil Alley does the fielding. He opened the bowling for New South Wales late yesterday when Queensland came into bat. Love survives. So Stuart McGill. Good opening over. He has the figures of 1 for 18. He only slipped. Big morning for Mark Taylor with the Test team announced, being the Test skipper. I would imagine he would be privy to the early thoughts of the selectors and the late thoughts of the selectors. Would probably know the team by now.
Well, before play, Mark Taylor and one of the national selectors, Steve Bernard, stood in the centre of the ground for 20 minutes in discussion. And it would obviously have been about the Test team.
It's one of those times that you really wanted one of the wicket microphones. Shout by McGill and Emery.
But there's already a flatness about New South Wales. Although McGill's trying hard here with this big appeal for LBW, you just look at the body language of a few of the players, Slater, Mark Waugh, Taylor himself, and just a little down.
Love getting on with the job. Just the one bounce and over the picket fence here at Bankstown Oval. Just pitching short once again, Stuart McGill, and being punished.
Well, McGill has dropped oh so short so often during this game, and without a deep mid-wicket, he has a man at deep square leg behind on the boundary, but no man to protect him there. He really, the way he's bowled, he's had to have somebody there. So many of the runs struck off him have been struck in that area from shortish deliveries.
Slater there would be an anxious player today, waiting for the Test team to be announced. Queensland 1 for 58, their target of 108. What could have been for Steve Waugh. Had a good game here at Bankstown Oval. Many people believe it. This is the Waugh's backyard. Barsby on the back foot. Late cut. Phil Alley does the fielding. McGill right on the spot, and this match also is a learning curve for some of the young players involved, but Phil Alley on his comeback, his second game back, also feeling his way. And Stuart McGill starting out on what many believe a very promising career. Oh, can see why it's so promising, Kerry O'Keefe. That really did bite and turn.
Well, comparisons with Warne's big leg spinner are fairly favourable here, aren't they? If we have a look at this replay, that is a huge leg break, and it bounced as well. So he gets it over the top, and if you've got that as your stock ball, you've got to have a chance of going all the way, I reckon.
Marsby. Just gets the single. Queensland 1 for 60. Stuart McGill, 25 years of age, took 6 wickets in the opening Shield match. That was against Victoria. Including that brute of a ball that brought to the end the sensational innings of Matthew Elliott, just when the Vicks were looking to get on top on that final day. And again, McGill shows his class, his potential. Queensland 1 for 60.
That was a big one, wasn't it? But the turning point in the match came yesterday, and when New South Wales were forging some sort of partnership, Greg Matthews cut a delivery from Foley straight at Paul Jackson and called Steve Waugh through. Steve Waugh on 35 had looked the goods again. This was a straightforward run out. Jackson just over the bails, Healy removed, and really that was the start of the end for New South Wales. So it really is a crucial game for them so early into the season.
McGill, Love thought about the late cut, decided against it. Speaking to Queensland Bulls coach John Buchanan before play on the final day, he said, we came here knowing that probably on paper New South Wales had the better team, but they had some heel from McGill. They had some crucial objectives they wanted to achieve, particularly with their bowling, and they've done exactly that.
This is a reasonable shout from McGill. That was a top spinner. Love didn't really get outside the off stump too far. Emery and he both shouted. Emerson negating. This has been a very good spell from McGill. He's put his hand up this morning. But yes, good point. We can't dwell too much on the shortcomings of the Blues. You must take credit to these Bulls. They're going to take some beating for this Sheffield Shield, I tell you. They have a disciplined team. They're a unit. They catch everything above Bindi eye height. They field brilliantly in the infield. Simons and Jimmy Marr, absolutely outstanding. And they have some good seamers. Look at the Queensland fast bowlers over the years who've gone on and prospered under Buchanan and the coaching structure there. I mean, Bickle's being mentioned as a test candidate. Kasprowicz is close. They have people like Rowell and Tazalar injured. They've got Adam Dale, who's got his game together. Scott Muller bowled beautifully. Queensland is a very strong cricket state, and they really come into matches with a set policy, and that's why they've beaten this Blues side today.
Love just gets the single. Square on the onside. Matthews picks up. Queensland 1 for 67. And barring what happens with that test team, Queensland
get even stronger when the Australian 11 team members come back. They're going to take some stitching. I don't care whether it's November. Come March, they're going to be there.
Barsby just getting the single. McGill, as soon as you stray onto Trevor Barsby's pads, it normally means runs. Strong breeze once again, but the experiment to bring this game out to Bankstown Oval away from the SCG has been an outrageous success. I imagine the association very happy with it. Love drives, picks up just the one run. Slater, a little bit of anger in that throw maybe. He's had a little bit of unhappy match here, but player of great talent who always bounces back. Spectacular start to his Test career did Michael Slater have. Bars getting that foot down there to smother any spin that Stuart McGill can impart on the ball, and he imparts plenty. Barsby, no run, 1 for 71. Barsby sweeps, just the single, and Trevor Barsby notches up his 25th half-century for Queensland. A tremendous achievement by this veteran opener for the Queensland Bulls. He acknowledges the small crowd who have turned out here to witness Queensland put the last rites on New South Wales. And Trevor Barsby has notched up his 25th half-century for the Bulls. And he's second of the match.
50 runs. At the moment, it's Martin Love on strike. Tomo's alongside me. Now, Tomo's wearing a maroon shirt and he's got the Blues pants on. Now, I know you've been a Queenslander for a long time now, Jeffrey, but this is, after all, your old hunting ground, isn't it? Big function for you here tonight. You must have some sort of mixed loyalties today only.
Well, you might be surprised by this answer, Mike, but I have none. I'm very happy with the situation here at the moment.
Yeah, right here. Jeff Thompson night at the Bankstown Sports Club this evening. It's cut away and it beats the field, so more runs. They'll take one as Slater runs onto it, and they decide not to go for a second. Well, it has been a long time. It's been 20 years, hasn't it? But I thought maybe just being back at this old ground and with the proceedings tonight, maybe there's a bit of blue bag in you after all.
I do have a lot of friends down here. I mean, it's a great club. If you look around the walls in their clubhouse there, you'll see a lot of great players. The honour list there's a lot of Test players that have come since our era. Since then, a lot of fellas have played for Australia, and there have been a lot of great players.
And that's worked away very firmly again, but straight to Kasparits. Or is it Muller down there on the fence? I think it's Muller. Of course, it's neither, is it? Neither of them. It's a New South Welshman out there. I can understand how the New South Wales players are feeling out there today, actually. It's hard to get terribly worked up when they need so few runs to win.
Yeah, mate, it's a bit of a lost cause. There's a leg by there. He's tried to turn it. Long chase. Get 3 from that leg bias. That's right, it's a lost cause. Mike, they realise it themselves. They have to bowl really tight. That hasn't happened. Barsby's doing it really easy out there. And Martin Love at the other end's just holding up the end for him and just pushing him around.
McGill has bowled pretty well this morning, though, from the southern end. And once again, Barsby gets him away. It goes to neither Kasparits or Muller.
That's the end of that over. One for 78. Still finding the boundary. They've got blokes like Barsby in there, Simons, that can keep the score ticking over. And when New South Wales are bowled loose, they've absolutely murdered it. And that's been a lot of the difference. Yesterday, New South Wales really struggled to score.
Let's see what the leg spinner can do. And he's getting plenty of turn out there. And it's worked away by Love. Out through backward point for a single. 1 for 83. Now the side screen being moved. Slight delay here. McGill, he's bowled some pretty good deliveries out there. Into his 12th over, 1 for 31. What have you made of this young leggy?
Well, it's like we said, he's bowled, shown a lot of spin, a lot of potential, but his length, he needs a lot of work on his control. But does spin the ball a long way, as we saw in these earlier overs today, getting plenty of turn. Bowled a lot better this morning, but then I suppose the pressure's off too.
A few players out there wondering, I'm sure, what the news will be when this match is all over in terms of the Test team. Trevor Barsby, he's never really been a Test candidate. I'm sure he won't be expecting to play at the Gabba this week. Mind you, he's in pretty good form. But there would be a few players out there at the moment who'd be wondering if their names will come up.
You could probably do a lot worse than Trevor Barsby against the West Indies, who give him some of their own. He doesn't mind fast bowling. The minute they dropped it short, I'm sure he'd accommodate. It'd be a good bit of action if he got away with it.
Very aggressive, very attacking batsman, Trevor Barsby. Always great to watch. 32 years of age. He's been a tremendous performer for Queensland over the years. He lists his hobbies: betting, drinking, smoking, and scoring runs. Mark Waugh, where will he be batting in the Test lineup? Is he the new number 3, or will they keep him at 4? All will be revealed in probably about an hour. I understand the Test team is going to be announced at round about midday. Full toss this time, and whipped out through mid-wicket. That's another 4 runs. So Barsby now goes to 60. And a 1 for 87. So maybe a few jitters in the Queensland rooms now. 87 on the board. This could be where the match turns around. Possibly.
I'd say more than likely impossibly. I know what you're getting at, Mike. You're just being a nice fella. You're trying to do everything you can to put the mocker on us Queenslanders. There's a fair bit of turn there. You can see from Stewie McGill there. That's the end of his over. Just the 1 wicket for 35 off 12. I've played against a few leggies now. Our blokes up there, Mal Meninga as well, and Wally Lewis and all these sort of guys, they can all handle themselves. Don't worry about that. So does Terry.
McGill around the wicket. Cuts. And a little fumble out there from Slater, but a nice throw. And one more run to the total. 1 for 88. 20 needed. Been enjoying the cricket out here, Terry?
Yes, I have. Been out there, got here Friday, sat here up the coast, got out here yesterday, and today it doesn't look real good, but looks like an outright for the Bulls, I dare say.
Well, the Bulls, it's close to the Bulldogs. I guess you can't be all that unhappy.
Well, the local cricket club here at Bankstown are called Canterbury Bulldog Cricket Club, so there's a bit of input there.
Back over the wicket from McGill. And out through square leg. Lee does the fielding. And they take another single. So the fire has gone out of this Queensland innings. Barsby set them alight earlier, and he just wants to get it out of the way before those dark clouds drop any rain. And I reckon there's a fair chance that is going to happen, because 19 needed, and if there's any threat of rain, you can bet your bottom dollar Trevor Barsby will play quite a few shots again. It's been great atmosphere out here, hasn't it? And I'm sure the people of the district were delighted when they heard that Sheffield Shield cricket was coming out here.
Yeah, I think it's a great concept. I think, especially when you've got the two war boys playing out here, and they do play for Bankstown, and Steve Small's involved with it as well. I think it's very good, and young Freeman as well.
Swept away, and a good stop, a diving stop by Shane Lee. Cuts the scoring down to 2, so he saved a couple.
I know one person's been out here, Mari Moore, Peter Moore's wife, been out here every day. He's a great fan of Steve Waugh's and Mark's.
Well, she wouldn't have been too happy with the way Steve Waugh got treated in this match, especially by his captain.
Another good shot, but he keeps picking out the fieldsman, and Shane Lee has had a fair bit of work to do.
I was sitting next to Mari at the time when Stephen got run out, and she wasn't very happy.
I think quite a few of the New South Wales supporters weren't too happy about that. 2 run-outs yesterday. War's quite straightforward, but what about that run-out by Andrew Simons of Greg Matthews? What a fielding effort that was.
Well, Tomo's pretty quick. I don't think he could have made that. Not too many players out there would have made it either.
So, as far as tonight's function's concerned, as McGill completes his 13th over, 1 for 40, and the Bulls needing 108 now, 1 for 92. They will get those runs probably in the next 20. I was starting to say before, I'm sure New South Wales wouldn't be all that perturbed if the match is all over in 10 minutes, because thoughts of winning have certainly gone, and I'd reckon thoughts of saving it have gone as well. Despite the weather, it's unlikely it's going to rain all day. So I'd reckon the players are thinking, well, the sooner it's over, the better.
Looks like young Jimmy's just woken up. Wasn't out with you last night, was he, Tomo?
Well, I don't actually know where he was, mate. I mean, I don't think they're allowed to drink these days. The game's changed. Lucky I finished early.
Yeah, he wasn't with you then.
Say all the right things, don't they? Thunder in the background, and now the rain is getting reasonably heavy out there. It's going to be interesting to see if the umpires allow them to stay out. It's very blustery, and spots of rain on the camera lens. They really need probably about 1 over if Love is prepared to have a shot, have a few shots. He tried to then, but it didn't go where he intended it. So 2 for 96, it doesn't need it. Stewie McGill, he's not going to give away a dozen runs easily. His teammates might be saying, bowl a couple of loose ones. Now he's lost his footing on the way. No, in fact, Martin Love has pulled away.
Is it up to the batters to come off, or the fielders, or the umpires? What's the story there about rain?
Well, I think it's basically the umpire's decision. These days they ask the batters, what do you think? But it's a bit slippery out there for the fielders too at the moment.
Now it's getting pretty slippery out there. The wind is creating a problem. It's very strong. It's blowing almost the rain, I think, into Martin Love's eyes. Umpire Ross Emerson there. I'm sure if the circumstances were different and they needed more than 12 runs, they would have been off a long while ago. Look, the shirt's drenched. Umpire Jackson out there.
Hang on, the third umpire, how does he feel at the moment up here in this lovely warm box? We've been up here sweltering for days, and now that you want to be warm, it's worked out quite well. I'll just wake him up and ask him. Hang on.
He's just pressed the red light. He's got no idea when he wakes up. End of the over then from McGill. 1 for 40 from Stuart McGill off 14 overs. He's been given a fair workout in this innings. 34 overs in total have been bowled. McGill has bowled close to half of them, and he has picked up 1 wicket. Dixon, Barsby the other man out, and Jimmy Marr
Thanks very much, Mike McCann, and great to see Terry Lamb here with Jeff Thompson, who was one of Bankstown's favourite sons, and Terry Lamb took that title over a long time ago.
I'll give it to the War Boys now with Stephen and Mark out there and young Dean.
Upstaged by cricketers, Terry. It's not good, is it?
It was the right season to do it.
Not too many runs to get for the Queenslanders, and that takes it down now to still in double figures. They turn, they get it down to single figures. 9 runs needed. Just getting the 3 runs there. It's a slow and painful death, Kerry O'Keefe.
Well, it is, and it had the prospects of being more slow and painful because they needed a boat out there at one stage just recently. That rain was that heavy. But they played through it, and even more difficult now for the New South Wales team with a wet ball and unsure footing, so real problems.
Jimmy Marr is the man on strike. He's been very watchful in the first innings with everything on the line. Jimmy slashed out on the very first delivery he faced and was dropped. He survived, and very watchful on this second occasion.
And I think he'd be mindful. They want to win this by about 8 wickets. They want to win it by exactly 8 wickets, so they can't afford to lose another one. That's as emphatic as you get.
Marlett to go through. Terry Lamb, Alfie Langer was a very good schoolboy cricketer, represented the state at schoolboy level on the cricket arena. What about yourself?
I was saying before, I played a bit of cricket for Bachelor's Hill in the Bankstown area for 10 years straight. And I don't think I was that good a cricketer, but I had a good time, put it that way.
Four brothers involved in the action. There's Mark, as Terry Lamb mentioned, taking over. Big heroes out Bankstown way, the War Boys.
They've put a lot in the game, the War Boys, but they put a lot back in the area as well, and they're very good. Do with anything the Bankstown Sports Club asks, they try to do if they can.
Steve Waugh made a century in the first innings. Was tragically run out from a New South Wales point of view in the second, and Mark missed out both times. But all of Bankstown will forgive him, and New South Wales if he can make a century against the West Indies in that first test. Kerry O'Keefe, Queensland 2 for 99. McGill continues. Marr looking to cut.
Fortunate for Queensland that state of origin cricket never came in, Terry, because they would have had Border or Tomo or any of those. We'd have flogged them.
No G Chapel.
Exactly. So they tried to hold back state of origin cricket, did Queensland.
In fact, I'm amazed that nobody's ever thought of the idea.
Yeah, Queensland thought of it and then they forgot about it very quickly.
It's a funny thing, state of origin. It brings enemy outs and best mates, and that's what sport's all about. The will to win.
Big Phil Alley lumbers in. 2 for 106 Queensland. They started the day at 1 for 44. Barsby was not out on 30 and Love not out on 2. Barsby departed for 68 and Love remains there on 22.
I suppose being a bowler out there, you don't want the last runs to come off your bowl, do you? So these bowlers are trying their best.
Absolutely. I mean, Stuart McGill, he's got a greasy ball, but he's still as determined that when the loss comes, he's not going to be the one that bowls that delivery.
or like Mark Ward did before, miss a field opportunity.
Love's on 22, and they've survived a couple of rain showers already, the players out there. New South Wales players would have been hoping to wake up and see very black skies and rain all day. It wasn't to be.
It is black.
Not black enough. Martin Love gets just the one. So Queensland now 1 run away from victory, 2 for 107. And Terry Lamb is right. It is